our basket of stories. So let us start by talking about Empress Menen coming to our rescue. And that is our theme for tonight. She comes to my rescue. And I wish I could just jump right into the story, but the thing is that very often, I need someone to help me because I'm like back spacing. Yes. I just need to go to slide 2. Very often, if you don't build the story out, when you start to talk about Empress Menen, it becomes difficult. So why Ethiopia? Why is there emphasis tonight on Ethiopia? There's some key things about this land space that makes it stand out amongst other African nations. Some of them is that it contains the oldest human remains that we know of. Thus far that scientists have found, we find the oldest bones that we know in the world have been found there. We also find the oldest forms of civilization, and if you don't, or if you haven't heard this yet, civilization is never based upon weapons. Yes, so if scientists or archaeologists go somewhere and they find weapons, they just know that these are uncivilized people. But when they find art and when they find music, they know they found civilized people. Yes. So the oldest instruments in the world, namely the bone flute, was found in Ethiopia. We know that it's the source of the Blue Nile. The Blue Nile provides 70% of the water that is in the Nile. The Nile is the breadbasket of the Mediterranean. So people know when I'm holding 70% of the water, I'm controlling everything that's happening there. It's the first Christian nation in the world. Yes. Unlike maybe what we've heard, yes, and maybe what we know, Christianity has its home as the first nation, as a nation now, not as a practice amongst people, a nation in Ethiopia. It's holding one of the most complete Bibles in the world, books that are not widely available here, and you probably could not read unless you read Ge'ez, the language of the church. It's the first Muslim kingdom in the world is in Ethiopia. That one comes as a shock. Can I have slide 3? Often, people will say, well, it must have been in Arabia. No. But that's simply just not so. We know that Nagash, Ethiopia, was where Prophet Muhammad had to run, Muhammad and his family, the Prophet had to run 3 years after he was given the vision from God to bring forth the tradition and religion of Islam. So heavily prosecuted in Arabia, he said, let us go to Ethiopia, where we can find someone who is blameless and upright, and he was received, and he was received. So that is one of the reasons why this is a covenant nation. Next slide. And most importantly, it is the oldest monarchy. So when we see like kings of England, kings of Sweden, those are children to the parents of Ethiopia. Right? So there's a reason why in 1930, 72 nations came into Ethiopia and bowed, next slide, and bowed in front of, next slide, the Abyssinian and the Ethiopian royal couple. And they're just not bowing to bow because that's what they do as an exercise, but that was an acknowledgement that this is our parent throne. Yes! And look at the bow. This one is not from 1930, this one is from a lot later. But at the time when they were lynching our family here in the United States, and they were keeping us in convict labor and colonial labor in the Caribbean, they were in Ethiopia bowing down in front of black men, black women. And so I'm not just saying this. Here were the headlines from that time, from 1930s, saying Abyssinia, which is another name for Ethiopia, plans for a coronation of king and queen. The new Ethiopian ruler, members of the oldest royal house in the world. That's not just coming from us. Don't think it's like Caribbean hype. It's not. It's acknowledged around the world that this is the oldest throne. Let's see another slide before this one. They also feel this throne is so old that they say, well, he sits on Solomon's throne. Come on. This is big headlines. We didn't make this up. Right? They say he sits on Solomon's throne, but actually, when asked, Haile Selassie I said that This throne is from the time of ancient Cush.
Yes.
And that this has been misinterpreted in the Bible as Ethiopia and other words they use for it, but the word is Cush.
Yes,
and that's where we get our authority from. So, yes, this is a beautiful place, and Europeans wanted it. And so, Europeans looked, when Menelik, they went into Ethiopia during the time of Menelik, which is the late 1800s, and they did an aggressive war. What happened? Yeah, Menelik crushed them and sent them home.
Yes.
And they knew they couldn't beat him. They knew never to go back. They were so bitterly beaten. But when he got sick, as everyone probably does as they age and get close to passing away, they wrote this headline, and we saw it, Sister Lexi, when we were in the museum in Ethiopia. We saw this headline. Ethiopians laugh at this now. Okay, so it says, when the king dies, and I don't have all of it, it says, look out! And he's sick. Because they were like salivating. It's our turn.
Wow.
He's gonna die. And the next person just won't be able to beat us the same way. We're going back in. Right? So as they're salivating, next slide, please. She comes to the rescue.
Yes.
So the first thing that happens is that her husband, who's Haile Selassie I, and at this point, not yet, Haile Selassie I, that's his throne name. Before then, he was Ras, which means Prince Tafari. And he had very progressive ideas, and he was building up Ethiopia, and he was going forward and getting agreements around from different nations that Ethiopia would not be a country that you could put an aggressive war against. Well, the queen herself, who was Queen Zawadi, and her court actually locked him up. One morning as he walked into royal court, they locked him up. And what did Empress Menen do when the word got to her? She said, oh, really? Go get me my weapons. Go get the tank that we just got from Italy. And if you read Time magazine, she actually said, she commanded the tanks to crush the palace walls. Get my husband out.
Come on now.
All of you who would like to acknowledge his majesty, acknowledge that his wife came to the rescue.
Yes.
She saved that monarchy the way we know it today.
Come on now.
It possibly would have been different if she was not bold enough at 37 years old to take on the imperial guards of Ethiopia and rescue her husband, and therefore that throne. Next slide, please. My second time that she came to the rescue was during the actual invasion. So Italy did come back. They came back in 1935. And they said, we want the nation. And they came with their bombs. And Mussolini said, we won't last if we fight them on the ground. We need a quick fast war. Fight them from the air. Drop bombs. This is the primary source lithograph of what it might have looked like. As Jamaican said, it's on something like something. Or if it's not like that, it's something like that, right? Bombs falling on the air with people who are not prepared to fight you via aircraft. Well, she comes to the rescue. What did Empress Menen do? Empress Menen said, I'm not afraid of your bombs. She ordered her motorcade to ride through the street, and she said, we've got a defense here. We have mountains. Go into the mountains and hide. The bombs cannot penetrate our powerful mountains. And as you see written here from the Associated Press, the Italian air raids and bombs hold no terror for Empress Menen, right? Who has completed plans to accompany her imperial husband to the headquarters, which is in Desi, which is what Sister Alexi was telling us about. And it's a forest rally. If you go there, it is better than Colorado. The mountains are everywhere, right? And she told the people, use the environment to your advantage. They cannot stop you. Well, you know how they got that couple to run out of Ethiopia. They actually broke international laws of warfare by spraying them with a chemical poison that killed the cattle, that killed men and women, that poisoned the water. That's how they ran the imperial couple out. And the chips were down, and everybody thought everything was lost. Next slide, please. And she comes to my rescue. Once again, third and last time she comes to the rescue here for this presentation, Empress Menen started the Daughters of She Sheba, an international women's organization to raise money for the troops and to create bandages and hospital and medical supplies for those who were sick and wounded. She said, I call upon the women of the world, but particularly the women of color. Yes. Come on, this is your home too. Don't you sit there and act like this is not you. And she called upon women to give $100 apiece and to start raising money and getting medical supplies into Ethiopia. International now. I'm not talking about raising up the women within the borders of Ethiopia. I'm talking about calling the women in the United States, in Europe, in Asia, everywhere. And she was heard. And that organization would eventually become a world-class hospital for women in Addis Ababa. So she comes to my rescue, my final slide here. My conclusion is that Empress Menen is a quintessential example of Black womanhood in the 21st century. Empress Menen Day is already an international holiday. It's so it's about nowhere in the Black world where you can go where it's not celebrated. We should just make it larger. It is our Black Mother's Day. Wouldn't it be nice?